Here, I'm going to go ahead. Welcome to the final Stanislaus Green Team of the year. We're taking November and December off, but remember that we're here the third Thursday of every month. And we're here to presentation, that kind of thing. We're going to get into that in a minute. My name is Lyndon Coffey. I'm co-chair of the Stanislaus Green Team. And the first thing we do, let's start that one. So come on, go ahead.
Good afternoon and welcome everybody. I'm Ramon. I volunteer with the Medical Chamber of Commerce. I'm on the ambassador and welcome team, and I work with Cisco Innovations. She does website design. It's great to have Lyndon here. Always it's great time of the month to come and visit and learn about Medical. Thank you.
Good. Oh, I keep saying that. It's not good morning anymore. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Destiny Suarez, the Senator for Rodriguez's office, and it's great to be here and see so many new faces and a good turnout.
Absolutely.
My name is Patrick Shields. I work for Supervisor Randy Graywall, Stanislaus County Board of Supervisors.
My name is Abby Pendleton, and I'm a representative with the Assemblyman Juan LMEC.
Cindy Woodruff, and I work for Blue Diamond, the plant in Sherlock. Hi.
I'm Jeff Pica. I also work with Blue Diamond and the environmental manager.
Dave Hawkins, new to American Recycling. I'm here with Linda.
Juan Elliott, you're here about me a little bit.
Laura Ward, Board Promotional. We do anything branded, and we have a lot of products that you can brand go on recycled material, and we also are now getting more and more items made out of recycled water bottles or apparel.
So I'm Ella. I start with as a deputy county counsel for Stanislaus County. Hi, I'm Sherry Sweet, and I run the local Central Valley as a neighbor's guide. So somebody moves to the Central Valley, we get this beautiful guide in the mailbox that welcomes them and tells them all the wonderful things about living here that we all enjoy.
Fantastic. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. George Isaac, I'm director of Phil from Repsco. We're manufacturing River Bank. We're also a California certified.
And I should say, before I forget, that today's lunch is provided and sponsored by Repsco and American Recycling. Go ahead and introduce yourself, and I'll go back again.
Hey, I'm Trish Christensen. I'm president and CEO of the Boston Chamber of Commerce, and we are thrilled to have so many people with us today.
Yeah, how many first-time visitors? That's fantastic. All right, that's great news.
Over 50%.
And I will say the next thing is don't forget about us. We're going to start this up again in January, and we're here the third Thursday of every month. And so look for emails if you want to get on the list of presentations. So please do that. Don't forget us. Okay, we forgot some people.
Hi, my name is Shawn Misty. I am a California Climate Action Corps fellow with the City Investor Public Works Department. My name is Bailey. I am also a California Climate Action Corps fellow with City Modesto Public Works.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and I round out three fellows with the Public Works Department. My name is Sean Staley. Pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Pleasure having you.
Excited to have them.
Don't forget that every meeting here is a hybrid meeting too. So we have some people online. Let's start with Kurt.
Good morning, everyone. Sorry, I didn't hear most of your names. It's not clear, but it's great to meet you all. I'm Kirk Oatman with I'm in Control. We would like to reduce energy usage in your mid-sized commercial buildings, 20 to 30% with a 2-year payback. How about that?
Perfect. Thank you. And Gavin, if you can hear me, go ahead and introduce yourself, please.
Hey everyone, I apologize. I'm not able to be there. I'm currently driving in Patterson, but my name is Gavin Klein, and I'm one of the field representatives for Congressman John Duarte's office.
Perfect. Thank you, Gavin. And last but not least, Jolene.
I'm Jolene. I'm the sustainability coordinator for the chamber, and I also coordinate the Green Business Program, which is a free program to get local businesses to go through.
Fantastic. And she's who you want to contact regarding future meetings if you want to get on the schedule to speak or anything regarding green business and the chamber. Jolene is your person. Go ahead and introduce yourself real quick.
Hi everyone. My name is Angel Moreno. I'm with the Office of Attorney General of Bonta, as external affairs specialist for Central California. I apologize for being late. I was driving to Fresno and As always, didn't expect that.
No, now it's traffic 24/7, right? There's no commute time, so feel free to help yourself to the food. I'm gonna get right to it. We have an hour. We are privileged to have Assembly Member 1, Annalise here. Give him a warm. Oh, and remember to silence your cell phones.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for having me. I was just here a couple weeks ago to give a legislative update on all the bills that we had and that we passed and the sign. So just a real quick one on that. 5 of them, luckily the governor didn't veto any of them. A lot of them had to do with public safety for the most part. For those who don't know, I'm a retired sergeant from the sheriff's office. So public safety is my thing right now, and it's what I have my expertise in. I sit as vice chair on public safety for the state. And I sit on 6 other committees as well. I sit on 13 select committees, and it looks like I just got another one the other day on retail theft. They want to know what I have to say on that, because that's a big thing as well. But we're here to talk about green, and I kind of have green in my shirt.
There you go. I wore my
Next time I'll wear like all green.
Yeah.
I saw you guys and I'm like, dang it.
We dressed appropriately.
Yes. So I had my staff print out one of the bills that I just wanted to talk about that had to do with green and with solar and with renewable energy, all that stuff. Was AB 1132 by Assemblymember Friedman. I don't know if any of you guys have followed any of that, but it allowed residents and businesses to obtain solar. It also extended the time frame as far as when they can get it, and also trying to lower the permit, so that way they could afford it, they can get it, and that way we can maybe bring it into like low income areas of the community as well and get that going as well. So I'm a big fan of solar. I have it myself. I drive a Tesla now, which is kind of weird. I have a grew up here in the valley, Modesto, right? I have a big Dodge diesel 4x4 mega cab truck, and my wife has a Durango with a big old Hemi in it. And yeah, I go up to Sacramento and I text her like, I'm getting a Tesla. And she's like, laughs like, I'm right. We got a Tesla. Community, so I commute back and forth from Sacramento to Modesto every day that I'm up there, which is usually Monday through Thursday. And definitely has helped me with my utility bills and my gas bill. And so I took it a step forward, and I have a Tesla solar roof now with a Tesla Powerwall. And I felt like a little kid who just got his Christmas present. I was constantly watching it on my app. So if you see me in the assembly hall, sometimes you'll see me like showing off to my friends, like how much I'm making and giving back to the grid right now and all this stuff. and now the new one is like when you plug into your car, the garage door is open and it shows your car charging. So a kid that's me right now. So into solar, trying to get in and learn more about wind. That's another thing I'd like to see, and I've actually met with some companies in the state. Unfortunately, the one that I did just speak with, they do windmills, but they do offshore, and they're huge. I was asking them, like, how do you guys stabilize them out there? Because they're floating, and they're like 3 or 4 football fields wide as far as the footprint. And that's how they keep them stable. I was like, that's huge. And the blades are like half a football, if not longer, as well. And they're huge. So I don't see us getting those around here, obviously. You know, it's not too close, but I also belong to a group called Problem Solvers. And in Problem Solvers, we learn a lot of things that are going on in the state. And one of the big talks that we're working on right now is hydrogen. So obviously the governor has it where we're supposed to be all electric, right? By like 2045, we got a date in 2035 or 2030, and all these dates set up for us. But right now we're not ready for electric. We don't have the capacity to do the structure for it. You look at like the semi trucks right now, what are they going to charge? There's no way they're going to go to a Tesla one right now. And so those are issues that we're addressing at the state level in Problem Solvers. And so I got to visit a plant where they're converting semi trucks. They're just buying brand new semi trucks and they're converting them into hydrogen, and they're selling them that way. And that was Cummins. in Sacramento. And I was amazed by it, and they're just showing us that we're not ready for electric yet. This is what we need to go with. But unfortunately, right now at the state level, they're not really approving hydrogen as much because if it's not electric, they don't want it. And so us as legislators, this is why they're coming to us, is we need to help fight to tell them that, hey, eventually everybody wants to get to that, but we have to start with the other steps, and hydrogen is really where it's going right now. It's as far as longevity, abundance of it, being able to be available up and down. That's the route we need to go. I had the pleasure of also visiting the grid, which I didn't know that our grid here in California, which operates pretty much all of Western, almost the central, pretty much the central, like maybe Montana, maybe almost to the Mississippi or so. It goes all the way, they cover Canada and they cover Mexico. Because I'm looking at their big map, remember, we're in their big top secret room, can't bring in cameras or anything like that. I'm like, why do I see Canada and why do I see Mexico? I'm like, oh no, we usually do those too. I did not know this. And so they have the breakdown from fossil fuel, solar, hydro, geothermal, all those things is what they have and what they're showing. And mostly that was just to educate us on, look, this is what we're using, and this is maybe what we can do without, and maybe more of this. And so it's definitely a learning for me. Coming from public safety to this now is a big curve for me as well. But it's something I enjoy. I like to see and be part of. I learned about a company that it's called, I want to say it's called Divert. I don't know if you guys have heard that, in Turlock, where they take basically produce from like the grocery stores right now. They will take the unused portions or the unsellable portions, and they will take them out of the wrappers, basically extract like 80–85% of the water out of them, so that way that's not going into the landfill, and then they use the rest of it as well. It's green all the way around, and I didn't know that existed here.
It's new.
It's new. I know
The building's not even done yet.
we did like a ribbon cutting or something, I think.
Groundbreaking.
Or groundbreaking.
They're building still right now.
Did the groundbreaking,
Our
so
neighbors.
I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to
Yes,
that,
they are.
looking forward to that field trip. I know everybody here is pretty much doing their part that they can. Obviously, we want to make sure that we preserve all of this that we're enjoying right now for our great grandchildren and stuff like that, and don't take advantage of the time and waste it and throw things away. So I know that's big. In the legislation, obviously it's here in our community as well. We want to do our part. Usually us being like an ag community, we usually get nothing. As far as it goes with the state, everything goes to either like the Bay Areas, like Los Angeles and stuff. They usually get the money for the programs, and they want us to produce and have things ready for their tables, but they don't want to help us by doing that. So that's another big struggle that we have up there. And a lot of the legislators are coming together more on that, because there's a lot of us in the Central Valley that can be a big voice for that, but we still don't have the numbers compared to the Bay Area ones. So just to give you guys an idea, when we were sworn in on December 5th, you stand up when they call your county, and there's 80 of us in the assembly, right? So that's where I'm sitting, and when they called Los Angeles, like more than a quarter of the room stood up, and I was like, oh my gosh. So they're short like 2 votes to get anything they want, but it's easy for them to get the other 2. So that's why they get a lot of stuff they get. So I went on a tour a couple weeks ago of power plants. I went to one that was down at the Salton Sea, where they're taking the geothermal, pulling the water out, running the turbines with steam, and then they're pulling lithium out of it, and then they're returning it back. So there's something we need for batteries, right? So that's something that they're working on with us, trying to get legislation to help them make sure they can do that and we kind of be self-sufficient with some of that stuff, and it makes sense. Went to Chevron's oil refinery, got to see what they're doing, and they're doing a great job as well, trying to be green as much as they can there. It's just interesting to see how everybody's trying to do their part. Biodiesel, we're trying to move with the times, but even majority of them are all like, we know we can't go electric. And that's a big deal, and it's unfortunate that just those that are making the decisions higher and up there and on those committees that we want to be with you, but just not there. Low income communities, obviously, they could benefit from having a solar roof. I'm very fortunate that I can have a solar roof, and I enjoy it. Actually, I was just talking last night with one of my neighbors who had just moved to the area, and he was only able to show, because they want to see a year's worth of utility bills, right? And he'd only just moved there, so he had 3 months of utility bills to show him, and they only allowed him to have like 8 panels. And I had like 24 on mine, so we were talking about it, and he's like, yeah, it really didn't do much. You paid all this for this, and but it just didn't make sense. So I don't know how we can work on that for those that just moved into the area or not. I know there's another issue that I've been trying to address with, like, when they're building houses. This is just something simple by design. And I was talking to Lawrence Livermore Labs, because they look for solutions that we do every day that we can just tweak a little bit that will make things better. And so I was bringing up roof lines, because with panels, there's certain degrees that we can have them at that you get the maximum amount out of it, right? So I was talking about, well, maybe we can make the pitch a little bit different to where that works and we can capture the most on the sun. But the other thing I was telling them is, so my dad's a general contractor, so I know a little bit about building houses and stuff. And so you see a lot of the vents that are sticking up out of the roof. Well, what if we divert them to where they go to the other side of the roof, so that we can get the maximum amount of panels? Because, you know, you see panel, no panels, because there's just one vent, and then panel, where you can actually maximize what you're doing. So that's something I've been talking to some of the builders around here also about, talking about just that would help out as well. Just simple practices that we can change to where we can get a maximum amount on our solar as it goes. Maybe we can get the Attorney General to push on. Thanks for being here. So another thing, well, we just talked about hydrogen, biomass. So now obviously we're ag and everything like that. We can talk about that as well, or even digesters. I don't know if you guys have talked about digesters at any of the meetings. They're not cheap.
Not in a while, so you can kind of
Okay,
explain.
so there's digesters cost a lot of money. I don't know how they can afford to buy some, so I'm gonna have to share them. But that's something that they use because the carb. For most of your familiar with carb, they basically charge you for being who you are and how much they say like you're basically impacting the environment. And so the way to get away from those charges is to show a way that you're doing, you're fighting the carb. You're doing efforts to lower basically your footprint on the environment. And so the digester helps with taking all the feces and stuff like that, separating that. They also make, what's the gas from it? Methane? Methane. Thank you. The methane, actually there's a plant right here next to Gilbert on 99 over by Keys. There's actually a place there where they're actually processing it. You'll see some tanks. That's one of the cool things I tell people about this job is, you ever see the thing on the side of the road and always wonder what that is? Well, I get to see what a lot of those are now. So that's something that we're working on right now. They have pipelines coming from some of the dairies. Those are just some of them. I mean, we could be doing this with a lot of them as well. But that helps with their carbon, help get their negative points. It's interesting for me to find out that's even a thing. Because I was like, well, what are you guys talking about carbon? What is this all about? They're kind of going on a diet. What are you talking about? I get plenty of those carbs. So so it's just interesting to find out more and more about especially even just our community of what we're doing to try and lower our print on how it goes. Everybody up there knows that I'm pretty much a recycle kind of guy. One of our offices, I remember I went there. Thank you guys have a good right there. We didn't have anything to recycle. I was giving them a bad time. And I remember like a week later they sent me a picture. Okay, here, just because of you. It's do as I say, not as I do up there on a lot of things. A lot of my colleagues up there talk about can't use these certain plastics, or we're not use water bottles. Like some of my colleagues can't have water bottles in their district offices. They're in Monterey and stuff like that. Excuse me. So when we go to Sacramento and I see everything that we're using there, I'm like, we're just as bad as everybody else. Why are we doing this? But it's again, do as I say, not as we do. So hopefully that will get changed. I'm just a freshman, so I'm just not trying to make any waves right now on everything that I do. I do kind of hold my line on some things, but
How long is your term?
2
years.
Yeah. It's not much. It's like literally
It's like a
you
representative.
get, yes, so you get sworn in December, you start in January, you gotta have all your bills by February, and then you're doing this all over. Yeah, it's very quick.
Quick turnaround, for sure.
And I'm all about term limits, but you know, I'd really like to just spend more time working and having to do all the other stuff that has to go with it.
Right, so your turnaround in your campaign.
Correct. Yeah, like give me 4 years. I would say 3, but I know I can't do 3, but 4 would be great.
Yeah.
And give me some time to work and actually work on more bills and get those happening.
Sure.
We starting this next year, so January 3rd we go back. So we've been off since like September 14th or 15th, which sounds great. And I thought was like, oh, look at this break I'm gonna get. I've been so busy. So now this is day 6. We were talking about this, like the longest I've ever been home since the longest was 2 days.
Wow.
And now this is 6 days I've actually been home in the district. Yeah, I'm still doing legislative stuff, but actually in the district, sleep in my own bed. But again, a lot of traveling, again, like learning about the power plants, learning about when I did my trip to Lawrence Livermore Lab, which was just a day trip for me, but to learn what they're doing there and innovative things that they're doing and sharing with all the businesses is great.
We have a hand raised. Valerie, you can go ahead and unmute. Please introduce yourself as well.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Valerie Thorson. I'm the San Joaquin Valley Deputy Director at CalSTART. So we're a nonprofit focused on clean transportation. And we do actually administer a good amount of incentive programs to provide funding for folks to have access to clean vehicles and to infrastructure as well. I believe actually Grid Alternatives presented in this meeting a couple months ago with the Communities in Charge program. So really looking forward to more involvement there from the San Joaquin Valley. But my question was around hydrogen. I came in a little late to the meeting, and I was wondering if the Assembly District has any involvement in the recently awarded hydrogen hub work. That California, as a hydrogen hub, received close to $2 billion of investment from federal funds to develop hydrogen assets here in the state of California. So I was wondering what the involvement is of the Assembly District.
So that's what, if you guys heard, it's the 4 that they're allowing 4 in the state. If that's what you're talking about, Valerie, the 4 plants.
No, the hydrogen hub work was awarded from the DOE. It came out this week.
Yeah, so right now that's something that's going on the I guess the assembly thread or chat that I can say that we're talking about, because we're trying to get one in the Central Valley. You're going to need one in the Central Valley. Again, they put all these requirements on us. We've got to process it, transport it, all the other things. So we're going to need one, but I'm hearing like the closest one may be like Fresno. So it's still not close for helping us. And then again, the bigger areas are going to get it. So, okay, well, Central Valley is huge. So as far as a voice on that, I sit on ag, I sit on water, but I won't have a direct voice. Some of my colleagues will. Heath Floor most likely will. He sits on some other committees that I don't, thankfully, so we can get that coverage. There's only a few of us, but we cover a lot of committees. And so that would be more, I would be pushing as much as I can for us to have it, but my colleague to the north, Heath Floor, he's the one that's going to be most likely pushing that for us.
And if I may follow up, have you have constituents within the region? Has there been feedback, concerns, or anything around development of hydrogen pipelines, or is that something that's reacted to positively as you know this fuel is going to be more and more present in the region?
I haven't heard anything negative. I think most of us understand that's where we're gonna be going and we want it. It's just who's gonna pay for it. That's the biggest thing. So if you guys can help with that payment, we'd love for you guys to write a check.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Good. We'll talk offline about it.
We're a nonprofit. We're not writing any checks. But happy to support it with transitioning definitely and in those conversations. So thank you. I appreciate it.
Use all the help we can get if you can, and I'll make sure my staff reaches out to you too, because the more voices we can get up there to basically help fight for what we want and what we need here is even better. And that's one thing also I've learned up there is if you can get a lot of signatures from other assembly members or senators on there, it helps push bills through really quick. Senator Marie Alvarado, her office has been great with that. We've been on a lot of things together, so it's good to show bipartisan, bicameral, all that other stuff. It's great, and we're actually here to prove that it works.
Right. Good.
Are there any questions about solar that you guys might have or that I didn't talk about, or wind, or anything else as far as like divert that I just learned about?
Divert is building their relationships here with the grocers. 5 years ago, maybe we had Fiscalini Farms here. They had a digester right on their own property, and that was a unique thing at the time. You're making me think it'd be nice to get an update from them on where they're at with it now. But I don't know if you knew that they have it right on their.
I didn't know that. Actually, I just visited him a couple months ago, and he was excited to show me his new automated milker.
And I don't recall if it was the dairy side or the farm or the dairy versus the cheese making, where the digester sat, but they have.
I'm gonna have to ask.
Yep. I'd love to have him back to talk about what they're doing out there. I know they're focused on it, have been a long time.
Yeah, we've been talking to the bird. I have been, because they're gonna be right next door to us at Blue Diamond in Turlock. So there is some mutual interest there for, we have some organic sludge that we generate from our wastewater treatment that can benefit them a couple of different ways. And I know they've got a lot of folks that are interested in sending them, waste material that they can use to burn. So it'll be interesting to see, how quickly they can reach their capacity, but they can build, they can expand over time as well. So
I think they have a pretty big piece of property out there. So I do think that they were kind of bringing the first one and then already thinking ahead on that.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be great for us. And I had a question about hydrogen. So we're getting pushed, we're all getting pushed to electrify our fleets. So will hydrogen be compliant with those regulations?
In our eyes, those that are trying to push it, yes.
It's all about
checking all the boxes. They want to check all the boxes, and it's not going to happen.
Right. Yeah, because we're telling them we can electrify like our yard goats, no problem. But the trucks that are going from Sacramento to Modesto every day, it's not going to happen now. It's not going to happen probably in 10 years either.
No, they bring up, so Frito-Lay, obviously, they have their trucks, but they're transporting chips, right? And yeah, it goes there, but then it'll come back empty most likely. And actually, I just saw one on a tow truck. I still think they're cool, but yeah, I was like, oh no. But when we're talking to the Truckers Association, and they're like, what do we do? Like, they're trying to get us to increase the weight limit on the roads, because when this does eventually happen, the batteries are going to weigh just as much as their load is, and now they're going to have to carry less of a load and make 2 trips. Like, how economical is that?
Yeah, Pepsi kind of got burned with that too. They can only do 150 miles. That's not enough. So I haven't heard the state or any of the folks I've been talking to talk about hydrogen at all. So this is all.
And they won't yet. That's what we're trying to get them to do. And obviously we'll continue the fight when we go back in January, but they need a reality check. It's a great dream, and yeah, it'll happen eventually, but we need to take steps.
Is that the whole box, Julie?
How much are they?
More than diesel.
No.
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
They're like $1 million.
The truck?
Per truck.
Oh,
Yeah, new truck, yeah.
And again, the government's gonna have to help again, like the farm program, right? They like, we want you to do this, this and this, and we're gonna provide subsidize some of the costs, and now they took it all away, but yeah, you still have to do it. So we think these farmers are all really rich. Some of them are just making ends meet. And that's, they gotta do co-ops. They gotta borrow and save, share and do everything else they gotta do. And we keep wanting for it. And again, it comes down to votes. You have more votes in the Bay Area than you do in the Central Valley. So they will get what they want. My big problem is trying to get some of them, like especially from Los Angeles, to come here and see what everything's about. And when I was on that tour of when we were at the Salton Sea, we passed some cows. Right, and they're like, what's that smell? That's the smell of money right there. That's great. And they're like, that's terrible. But they look into cows and they're like, oh, it's a dairy. Well, they're Holsteins, right? They see dairy cows, they do that part, but I'm like, that's not, those are dairy cows. Like, do you see any udders? You guys know what udders are? You see how they're all together under this one roof? There's nowhere to milk them. I go, that's a feedlot. What? That's a dairy. Like, and then I had one guy who said he knew about dairies, and he was telling me, I was telling him how we have we have the automated one. There's the little pinwheel one with the carousel that we have out here as well. And he's like, oh yeah, I saw the new one. He goes, I saw the guys put the things on and they just started sucking on them that way. And I'm like, you guys think we still do this? And they don't know. So I would, we do field trips to go see what's going on down there. I would like to see them come here and learn more about what we do, what our needs are. Okay, see, I didn't know there's 24.
Thank you, Valerie.
Valerie, do you have a picture of one so we can show it to them?
If you give me a second, I can pull something up.
Cool. No, we got some time.
You got some time.
Yeah.
So again, we're all trying to do our part here. I'm glad you guys are meeting on this as well. I'm talking about it. I'm sorry this is the first one I've thanked you to attend.
Oh, we appreciate you being here for sure.
But
this is why we created these things. This is the perfect reason why we're here.
Was talking to my staff about this last night, and they're like, wow, talk about your solar, talk about your, like all this stuff that you like to do. I'm all about that. Oh.
So anything on propane growing up? There was a couple of people who had propane vehicles.
So we have CNG. We still have those. I don't think that's really been phased out yet. That's basically like what your hydrogen is.
Yeah, so I have a question about divert that you or others may or may not be able to answer. So they are taking in produce from grocery stores and such. Are the things that they're taking in, are those things that are considered like food loss and no longer donatable? One of the things that us three were working on is edible food recovery for SB 1383. So is there going to be like any distinction for grocery stores since they're already having to donate food for food
Actually,
recovery?
100%. Actually, that program, that's like the last thing they will do. The first part they will do is they will get all the data to show like some of these strawberries you have left over this thing. And they've actually been able to increase the donation thing, but they've also been able to take the, and again, I just learned this. It was a very informational meeting. They'll even show the stores like how much they're bringing in, and maybe to address some flaws, maybe your refrigeration is not working well, or maybe you're just getting too much product for the area, and maybe they'll order less, so they're not having more waste. But those are all addressed, and actually I think they would benefit a lot from talking to you as well. But you'd be very impressed in what they're doing. But then the last thing they do is the processing, and that's the end.
They do have a partnership with the Food Initiative. I'm trying to blank. I was gonna search it really quick. So food, I'm sorry?
Carrots. No.
Food recovery is the first step in that. What is salvageable, what can be donated, transferred over, and then they break it down in stages as to what they do with what's left at this level and then what's left at this level. And then we get to the sludge that Jeff was
So do they act as like one of the levels in food recovery? Like they take it, they help with taking it in and sorting it?
It's in the relationship building. Do you know
I
better?
think they work with you to help you find those avenues.
Gotcha.
So they did come to us and said, you know, we've been talking about us taking your waste material, but we want to know if you need help finding, you know, donations or other avenues for this waste before we get to that step. And we already have processes in place. So we do donate and we do all that, but yeah, that is part of their model is they want to minimize the waste and find its best use. And then at the end, they will do the digestion.
Yeah.
And in that meeting, they told me they take pictures of everything and they send them to those companies to show them, actually, look, this is what you have. So for visual learners like me, that'd be great. If you want, I can make sure you get in contact with the ones we talked to yesterday.
Yeah.
That'd be a great partnership.
Yeah, thank you.
See?
Yeah, so just as a point of kind of clarification, wanted to mention this. The company is called Ametis. It's out on 99. They turn bio-waste into jet fuel, but they're also the property managers for our company resides at the Riverbank Industrial Complex. And they've got some plans to about 6-7 acres on the northeast side of the property to expand their operation. So I don't know if that's a company you wanted to inquire about.
And the other one I was trying to think of, it's the Second Harvest of the Greater Valley was their like primary partner on the food recovery piece when they first came to do their groundbreaking. Mhm.
And so other ways that, I mean, we talk about solar, wind, the digesters, everything like that. There's other businesses also that are trying to find a way for us not to waste products like wood. I don't know if you want to do a little segment on what you guys do real quick, if not.
Oh, yeah, so we're actually doing plastic slip sheets in the country that are 100% recyclable and usable, sustainable. And the goal is to eliminate wood pallets inside warehouses and production. You know, something that's not sustainable and reduce costs on shipping and increase bulk and storage inside containers. And that's what really has been for 30 years. Also, I would Riverbank.
And so that's just another, we did a tour, what, a month or two ago?
A couple of months back.
And just to learn, like, you know, you see all these stacks of pallets everywhere and all this wood, and it's gonna be the stack that they have in equivalent, it's like, maybe this. And so it was great. There's just all these other innovative ways that people are trying to reduce waste. And I'm proud that it's here. It's going on in our own community.
Part of what we're trying to accomplish here through what we're doing is to help the community know about some of these things, like what Repsco is doing. Nobody, the general community doesn't know about that. So we bring them in and they get to start talking about it. I've been out at the facility also. It's amazing to see zero waste to zero waste. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, watching them make them, everything they cut just goes right back in and they use that part again and it just keeps going.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, that's one of those things you pass by and what are they doing over there? I get to see it now.
Most people have no idea what goes on inside that company.
It's huge.
I was telling Laura, you know, there's probably 40 companies inside there, close to 600 employees. Is it? Yeah, don't ask me where they are. They're somewhere in those walls, and yet they've got an immense amount of property on the backside, like I mentioned.
It originated as a ammunitions depot for the government, so a lot of space out there below the ground and at the ground level.
Yeah, I went in the safe area. Some people were blindfolded, brought in a car.
Not true.
All right.
Thank you. We're being recorded, you know.
I'm gonna save you from that one, my friend.
And then obviously vehicles, that's a thing you guys see now. There have some like mine, all electric, and then you also have those that do both. So the manufacturers are getting into it. When I met and talked with them, they also had concerns on charging stations. Is there going to be they're going to sell the product to their customers, but are they just selling them something that they're not going to be able to use? So those are concerns that they have as well. I'm on the electric car / charging facilities select committee, and I was asking the chair if everybody's bringing in like a business sometime tomorrow to talk to them. So like, I'm okay to bring somebody, right? She's like, who are you thinking? I'm like, oh, that's Elon Musk. Ask him, and she's like, whoa, wait a minute, what? I go, she's like, well, I go, why would you want to talk to him? Find out like what kind of problems do you guys see when you guys come in to bring the facility, to do charging? Would you guys be willing to open it up to where other cars can come there? Because you guys obviously are everywhere. And I think that would be a big thing. And then she started to like see the value. Okay, maybe that's good. And I just want to meet you guys. So yeah. So obviously that's going on there also. A lot of people now are riding bikes. You're seeing more of the rental bike things also to help slow that down as well. So we're doing as much as we can, as you guys know. And yes, ma'am.
Question for you. So more of these vehicles are on the road. My sister has one. They live in the Bay Area. And when we want to go take long trips, they come to our house so we can hop in our gas car so we can go there because there is no station. Or we have to separate our time, like we went to Avila Beach. And so they had to stop at a place to have lunch to charge their vehicles. So we couldn't all meet up because they had to spend all their time charging. So is there actual plan for them?
So they're supposed to be. Is it happening? No. The government's not getting involved in it as much as they probably should be to help subsidize all those other things. It's basically do this and then figure out how to do it. I don't know if they have a Tesla or they have another charger. So one thing I like about the Tesla, you just put in where you're going and it tells you where to go and how long you're going to be charging.
Yeah.
I do enjoy that part of it. But not every car has that.
No, they have that.
And they got to go find their own charger. But now imagine your problem now for the semi trucks. And imagine them even going out of state, where out of state it's not really a big push.
Right.
So now what do they do? So those are their concerns too. They're like, we want to be there and want to do our part, but our long haulers, there's no way this is going to happen. So then that's why you got like Cummins, it's converting things to hydrogen, which you just got the price of one. Who can afford that? Trucking program, I'm guessing they cost like maybe 250 a semi or something like that.
Julian, can you open
Maybe
up?
300. You guys know the prices on them? Did you
Well,
get a
before you see
digester?
where the, yeah, that's
We have another question.
yeah, let's get this question. Valerie, do you have something you want to screen share?
Oh, no.
Okay.
Sorry. I was listening. Yeah, let me pull, I can try
I
and pull
might
up.
have to take the spotlight down for you to do that. So let me know what happens when you try while we read Kirk's comment here.
You know what I can do? I'll share the report with all of them. All the digesters in the state of California, and there are pictures there. So I'll share that so folks can look at, so I don't take up time.
More of a statement than a question.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
But yes, thank you, Kurt, for saying that. So that's another thing, like with people going with EVs that live like in apartment complexes, right? Or, big cities, like, where are they gonna put all their cars? Like us right now, I can plug mine in at the house, I'm covered, but how are you gonna have all that set up for thousands of people? So those are all issues again. It's like, hey, great idea, but how are you gonna implement it? We're figuring that part out.
Yeah, just some of the other things that will be affected are a certain industry, like auto repair industry. That are going to be affected by the EV transition as well, especially the mom and pop shops. You don't have the research problems.
Yeah, because like for me, I gotta go Tesla.
Yeah.
Right, that's it. You're stuck. But yes, great point. And they're going to be basically, well, once this happens, either looking for a different industry or trying to maybe get certification for EVs there. Yeah, that's a great point. We'll see.
I clicked on the link, so we can't see you at the moment. I'll just scroll down. Oh, you know what? I can screen share that. Hang on. Valerie, if there's anything specific you want to speak to as I scroll through this, feel free.
No, I had one of our interns look through this and the entirety of this report to see what is active, what's still getting built, and where specifically within the San Joaquin County we have the dairy digesters. And as you can imagine, a lot of them are in the southern portion of the SJV. But yeah, is essentially we were just trying to see, you know, what the investment has been so far, and what the cost profiles look like for this particular kind of sub industry.
Is there anyone in here or on here that doesn't know what a digester is?
I am unfamiliar with the term.
Valerie, you want to give us an overview of that?
Okay, just to clarify, I'm not an expert on dairy digesters, but essentially what happens at a dairy is that there's a lot of byproduct from the cows as they use the bathroom, right? And so their dairy digesters are a technology that's used to capture their poo, for lack of a better word, where they are covering fields with these. Essentially, it looks like a bubble, a sheet. And that sheet that's covering these fields of this manure is then capturing the gases from an anaerobic digestion process, meaning that as the manure breaks down in the soil with no oxygen, it is producing gas. And so that gas is then captured. But in order for you to put this quote unquote sheet over the manure and then put the equipment to capture that gas, and then on top of that, convert that gas or clean up that gas, there is equipment that needs to be put into place. And so that's where kind of the costs come. That could be, you know, a few $1 million for these folks to put in this technology that's going to capture the gas, which is, it ends up being helpful from a greenhouse gas emission, obviously, reduction emission, obviously, but it also is helpful from an operational standpoint, because as I understand it, and again, not being working at dairy myself, but as I understand, it actually helps with their operations, because the excessive manure can create essentially fallow land, or land that gets ruined from an operational standpoint. So that's what I've learned so far, but hopefully that helps, at least for the overall process.
More of an idea what they look like. The cost.
Yeah, thank you, Todd.
Gosh. There was a plant also that I visited in Southern California that's taken basically the garbage, and they're using that, and it really stunk there. But I was watching them come in and dump all the garbage in there, and then it processed it all, and basically they use the gases coming from that as well, and they set the fire up there, or whatever they're doing to create basically heat and then steam, and then they turn it into run the turbines again. But they're like they're like the only one in the state, but they're actually already filing for bankruptcy because the garbage that they were supposed to be collecting from all these communities haven't gone on board and didn't want to basically participate. And so they're just running off the ones that they already had, but it's not enough to keep the plant going up to the efficiency that it should be. And so that's their worries. If we ever do this anywhere else, that you need to make sure everybody's on board and sticks to it. Otherwise you have these companies that are great idea, great for the environment, but not everybody, some people are afraid to get on board. Are there any other questions?
It's one real quick. So American Recycling, we like recycling. There's been some contemplated legislation around single-use plastics that I think we're poised to kind of help that closed loop ecosystem. I know single-use plastics get a bad rap. They're really beneficial for ag products and getting into market. There just hasn't been kind of closing that loop to get them back into new products, and filling the landfills or in third world countries are all over the place. But anyway, any update on that, or we're here to support in any way we can?
No, honestly, I don't on that one, but you guys also work with glass as well?
We take some glass too. We're really focused mostly on paper and plastic.
Okay, because glass, as you guys may know, alcohol and all that, they don't recycle it. Well, now that's changing. That's now gonna be part of, or if you've taken plastics to the recycler and found out your 100% juices don't get to get also, so maybe that's more in your world.
Well, so like a lot of the CRV stuff, like your water bottles and whatnot, they have 5 cents, the state's supporting all that sort of thing. But think about the salad clamshells as an example. Those things just go straight to landfill. Even if you put them in your blue container and they hit a MRF, they're typically, they go straight to landfill. Yeah. And so they are perfectly recyclable. We would love to recycle them. There's, I think, broad need for support to kind of help that evolve. And we're poised to kind of support that when it happens. And I know there's been, again, contemplated legislation around some of that stuff, but we're here, we're in Modesto. We're happy to support as much as we
Well,
can.
no, I definitely would like to talk about that and encourage people. And I honestly think that even the CRV should be up to encourage people to recycle them more, because it's a nickel. They toss it, they don't care, but you know, up it up a little bit more and like, okay, no, I'll keep it, I'll recycle it, I'll do something with it. Some of the single use that you talk about, like you go to, I mean, even maybe, I don't know, Olive Garden, I'm trying to think where I went, but some of these single use ones that you get to go, are like almost better than Tupperware sometimes.
Absolutely.
Wow, I'm gonna clean that, and that's like the one you take back to the family thing, and you don't, if you forget it, it's okay, right? So some of those is like, wow, what a waste. But very good point. So what am I talking about though?
I'm happy to chat, yeah.
Are there any more questions for Juan?
Yeah, is there any talk about, back to EVs, and the chargers? There's also the software component where a lot of it's proprietary, and is there any discussion about making that universal? Because you could go down the road of a Cummins or a Tesla, but then you may find, you know, the technology is going to change. You may, you know, your lease comes up or whatever, and you switch to a different manufacturer. You gotta, at this point, you're gonna have to probably replace all those chargers too. Not so much because of the plugs. The plugs are fairly universal, but the software is you know, specific to those vehicles and manufacturers.
I haven't heard any talk, and honestly, I don't think they will, because everybody's gonna want to keep their own little secrets and stuff. I know that some of the EV options that they're talking about, just like with our phones, right? We plug them in, but now you can just set it on top. That's another thing they're working on. There's actually a company already that's doing that with some buses, where they just drive over and they're charging it that way. Some of you even talked about doing that on our freeways, which I don't know how much that would cost, but charge you while you're going, kind of thing. So those are things that are being visited, but as far as they won't, I don't think they would show this to kids. And I'm sure they would fight it if they were told to. But it's a good question. Yeah, I don't see them sharing that, and they will be evolving. Our cars will, like I said, we'll be able to drive over at some point and just charge it.
I'm still waiting for my Jetson moving on.
Oh, yeah, no, it was supposed to be your birthday, right?
Yes, that is.
Yes.
You're waiting for that, but we're still waiting for the train.
Yeah, right.
Oh, that's another section.
If there's no other questions, I'm gonna wrap it up. I want to make sure we get out of here at 1 o'clock. But thank you so much.
If you guys think of anything as far as maybe a bill that you guys have, please reach out to me or my office. That's how we get a lot of the ideas, and if I can get you involved in it as much, recycling and stuff like that, please. I'm all open.
We want you back as soon as you can get back to talk about current things. So Jolene can work on that and get you back. We're gonna hold you to it.
Okay.
We've all heavily discussed. Real quick, there's a couple people that didn't get to introduce themselves. Is John still here? Or did he leave? Oh,
he's here.
John, can you hear me? If you can, go ahead and introduce yourself real quick.
Hey, good to hear everyone. John Valines, I'm on the board of the chamber and vice chair of external operations. It's been a while.
Nice to see you. Nice to see you. He was one of the leaders of this group way back in the day.
Back when he worked at the chamber.
Yep.
And I just go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, my name is Sashi. I am a representative of the green team in San Joaquin County, and I also work for the Chamber of Commerce there.
So
Oh, welcome.
Here, we do the same thing up in Stockton. Greater Stockton Chamber of Commerce, starting our meetings up again next month in November. So excited, and I'm glad you came. Appreciate it. All right, so we're gonna get you out of here on time. Got a couple more minutes, real quick. We do this 30-second commercials. If anybody has a 30-second commercial about what's going on, if it was me, I would just simply say American Recycling recycles cardboard, paper, plastic, and metal, and we have a limited food byproduct destruction program. So there I go. I did it within 30 seconds. Ramon, go ahead.
Well, I'm just glad to know about you because I live in Cleary and I can take my cardboard there and.
There you go. Oh, I'm glad you brought that up. It's almost like I planted you. By the way, the cardboard markets are up so much that we are opening our door trade again. So if you have a limited supply of cardboard that just fits in your pickup truck, or you have a truck trailer behind your pickup truck and need to bring in cardboard and get cash at the door, we are back open and we're paying pretty good price for door trade. So it's we haven't said that in
I usually donate it.
You can donate it too. That's our first option, is to donate it. But if you want some money to help towards the gas to get it there, that's an option too.
So we can bring it right to you?
Pardon?
We can bring it to you?
You can bring it right to us.
Wow.
You're welcome to bring it.
Mind blown right now.
In a year, Dave knows it's gonna be out. We've not talked about that in a long time. So let's hope the market trends. Not much is trending in the right direction, but just the hardware markets. Does anybody else have any 30 seconds? Or we'll just open it up to anything or announcements that you might want to.
I just want to point out another thing with going green now since COVID, a lot of good things came out of it. They don't have to drive here today.
Yeah, there you go.
Get it straight through. That's something going on in legislation, like with city council meetings. We have some that are like disabled that can't make it, that would prefer to be able to be part of it. So that's something we're working up on right now up in Sacramento. But that's another thing that they're going to try to. Sorry.
No, perfect. Thanks, I glad you brought that up.
Valerie, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring up, well, one thing, I wasn't able to drive, I'm in Merced, but I wasn't able to drive over today, but I did miss out on Olive Garden, so, balance. I was able to do a good lunch. But I did want to add I added a link to Communities in Charge. That's the program that we're administering at CalSTART, and it provides funding for charging infrastructure for chargers. And it's for workplaces, it's not for residences, so that's elsewhere. You can go through the district, but it's for workplaces and folks where and places where people gather. Basically, if you think about funding for tribes, for churches, for or places of religious worship, excuse me, and all kinds of different properties that can benefit from charging, we give you funding for that. So if anyone is interested, Communities in Charge is going to be opening up funding next month. So please take advantage of it.
Thank you.
Multi-chamber makes through tonight from 4 to 6:30 p.m. at the Wolf Lodge in Antigua.
We'll be there. Antica's hosting that one, so. I'll make a pitch for these meetings and then tangent into California Green Business Network. I applied for the Modesto Chamber to be the program administrator for this county, Stanislaus County, back in 2020. So we work through Jolene's efforts to green certify businesses throughout our county. It's a free service to businesses. And the biggest win they get for that is it puts them on a state level referral website. So if you know a business that strives to work with sustainability based businesses, they go there to find them first. So if you have a business, you know of somebody that is really into efforts to show that they're sustainability based, we'd love to work with them to get certified. Every industry is able to do it, and they each have an independent checklist. Doing this office does not look like it did for Blue Diamond, which didn't look like it did for Audi Modesto. So every industry has its own. And these meetings, we're also striving really hard to have each one of them sponsored. So we can provide a nice lunch to go along with it over a lunch hour so that we all can eat while we're here. So if anyone's interested in speaking, presenting, suggesting presenters, Jolene is your point person. And if you would like some branding credit to the efforts of these meetings, we're happy to hook you up to sponsor.
This is the blueprint.
This is it right here. Yep.
Perfect meeting.
And thank you to Repsco. This is not the first time they've offered to sponsor. We appreciate you guys.
With that, if no one else does anything, I'm gonna get you out of here. Trace spend time.
No.
Oh, okay.
And again, thank you, Assembly Member. We appreciate your time today.
Thank you.
With that, if you need seconds, go for it.